If you've tried in years past to get in shape, but it just hasn't stuck, this is going to be the episode for you.
We're going to give you 5 practical tips to make sure this year is the year that sticks.
So stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thanks for being here. You're going to get a lot out of this episode today if you're somebody who is like, yes, year after year, I just keep trying to get in shape. I start out strong, and by February, by March, the whole plan's out the window, and I feel like I'm back at square one. We're going to give you 5 practical tips that are going to make fitness stick this year, and one bonus tip that's a huge game changer. So don't miss that one. Quick life update from us. The house is like 99% empty now, I'll call it.
This will probably be the last podcast out of the studio.
Yeah,
Next week, I think that this will not be here.
And then it'll be all Airstream podcast videos moving forward. So we'll try to figure out what that's going to look like. But yeah, I think last week we said the house was like 80%
Yeah,
empty. We're down to bare bones
sad in there.
for sure. Sad but exciting at the same time. I didn't find a sponsor for this week. I've been too busy with.
I did.
Oh, who you got?
I'm excited about this one. Ace Hardware.
Have they ever been a podcast sponsor before?
This is a new
That's
podcast
surprising.
sponsor. Ace Hardware, specifically the Wimberley, Texas location. If you guys have ever been into small town and seen an Ace Hardware, go in. Like these things are, if it's the right kind of Ace Hardware, they're awesome. Like the one in this town is known as like the best gift shop in town. It is not your normal like hardware store. So if someone's like, oh, I want to find like some Wimberley gifts, where should I go? Go to Ace Hardware. They do such a great job of like curating the store. And the reason I'm excited about the sponsors, they have some killer t-shirts. Like I'm like jealous of their t-shirt game in there. Like, I wish I could be this creative to make digital
Yeah.
barbell shirts like they do. And they're like they're Wimberley related and Ace Hardware related. And I probably dropped like $500 in the time we've lived in Wimberley on Ace Hardware t-shirts for myself and gifts because they're so good. I'm serious.
I mean, why don't you show everybody the cup this
Oh
up?
yeah, I got this cup there. Look at this. So
Pull it up to
cute.
the camera.
So cute. Wimberley, the Texas, little star there.
Tell
Um,
everybody the fun fact that came with the instructions on that
well,
cup.
I think this is a certain brand of cup, but it's like each line is like a different drink. So it's like funny. It's like this is like a shot. Like just I can't remember all the ones. And then like this was like an iced coffee. Like they had some really funny things of like each line was like a different.
The funniest thing was if you fill it up to this line right here,
Oh,
you can,
it's a full bottle of wine. It's a bottle, and like it was just really funny the way they like it. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, in case you want to just show up to your kid's soccer practice with an entire bottle of wine in your
please
thermal.
no. Yeah, but yeah.
Oh man,
Anyway,
it's hardware.
thanks, Ace Hardware. It is awesome. I'm gonna miss this specific location, but we'll be back.
They have
We'll be back
they
often.
have a happy hour.
They have happy hours on Thursdays. On Fridays, you get free popcorn and sodas. Every Friday, you get free popcorn and sodas. Thursdays, they have a margarita night, which is hilarious. And once a year, they have a street party, which we've been to several times, and they like block off the street. They have like bands and dancing. I mean, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
this place is awesome.
It also shows you like the level of excitement we're at here. Where we're like Ace
Ace
Hardware,
Hardware.
place to be. Forget the nightclubs,
We
forget the
probably
bars.
go like 2 times a week on
Yes,
that.
I actually need to go there today for a couple things. Okay, 5 tips to make fitness stick this year. Who is this episode for? I kind of alluded to it in the intro, but if you're somebody who in the past has said these things to yourself or done these things, this is for you.
Mhm.
You've at the beginning of the year or any time of year really, you're like, all I need to do is I need to buckle down. I need to try harder. I need to be more disciplined. And that's going to be the thing that unlocks my progress this year. Or maybe you've joined a gym before
Mhm.
and you're just like, all right, the gym membership, that's the missing piece for me. And once I have that card with my picture on it, this is going to be my year. But you don't ever invest in like a plan or some accountability to go along with that membership. If you've ever joined a program where the main focus of it is eliminating certain things out of your life, I'm talking about carbs, I'm talking about dirty ingredients, like you're going to go on paleo and only eat clean, or you're going to stick to a like set of rules, How has that gone for you in the past? I'm guessing not well by this time of year. If you're somebody who's been like, all I need to do is string together a whole bunch of days in a row of perfect compliance, and that's going to be the thing for me this year. How's that worked out for you also? Or maybe you've started a workout program that you really know is not, it's not, it doesn't match up with where your fitness level is right now. Therefore, it's probably not going to be sustainable. Or you've signed up for a race, in 3 months, being like, all right, I have the goal of running this 10K or this half marathon. That's the carrot that's going to be dangling in front of me and it's going to keep me motivated. It usually doesn't pan out. Life happens, the goal doesn't happen, and therefore our fitness never sticks during that year. Or lastly, if you're the kind of person who hears about some kind of new information out there with health and fitness or nutrition, and you're like, yes, that makes sense. Maybe I need the magic metabolism diet like that I saw on the Today Show. Like that's the thing. It's going to do it for me this year. Or I need to do a hormone reset, or these cortisol cookies that I see on TikTok are a missing piece for me. All those things are the reason that fitness has eluded you from sticking throughout the entire year. So we're going to crush all that and give you 5 things to focus on plus that bonus.
Crush the trends. I actually, speaking of the Today Show, we had it playing in the background yesterday, and I was telling Jonathan it was sad. They gave great advice, but they brought on like a fitness expert person,
Yeah.
and they said that they were talking about protein. They gave fantastic protein advice, but they said the way they started the whole series is they said protein is now trending. And I was like, what?
It's a trend.
It was just weird.
It
Anyway.
is kind of weird because like we preach it as just a fundamental part of overall healthy nutrition. So if everything that is a trend, then I mean, then let's be trendy. Let's just make all the normal
I mean,
health
this because
benefits of
that's what
everything
they
trendy.
said. Like protein is trending. You should have 20 to 30 grams at a meal. It looks like a deck of cards. And if you're a smaller person, go less. If you're a bigger person, go more. I mean, the advice they gave was right on, but they,
Yeah,
protein is trending was ridiculous.
right.
Anyway. Okay, let's get into this.
Let's do it.
So, 5 tips to make fitness stick this year.
All right.
The
What's
first tip, we've said this a lot. Put it on a calendar and have a plan.
Mhm.
There's no better way to succeed than have a time and date planned for something. You're gonna get there and have a plan when you do get there.
Yeah.
So this can be both for your fitness and for your nutrition.
Yeah, you need to know like what are your workout days going to
Mhm.
be and how's that going to play out in the overall schedule of your life. Like if you're going to work out when you have time or you're going to figure it out when you're not busy, you'll get started when you're motivated and then life will get busy and like since it wasn't a calendar event on your
Mhm.
schedule, other people's priorities or other priorities in your life will
Yeah.
take over that time, which will never get the momentum going to give you the results that you want.
This is so if winging it in the past has not worked well and kept you in a good routine, then this is the way to do it. It's easier if you're in a class, like if you're in a group class. It's harder to do if you work out, but still like on your own,
Hmm.
you know, or just like use an app or you use something like cool like digital barbell to work out. It's still okay to do. You just have to put it on a calendar and make sure that those events are something just like a business meeting, just like going to a doctor, all of these things, it's on the calendar. Like at 11:30 a.m., I work out.
Yeah. I think this has to start with you giving yourself permission to be little bit stingy with some of your time to
Mhm.
spend on your own health and fitness.
Yeah.
If you want yourself to be a priority, you're literally going to have to make yourself a priority in your schedule. And you doing that is not selfish. Even if you have a family that needs things from you, you can care for those people better in your life if you take care of yourself first. So don't feel bad or guilty about spending time on your own fitness. And it's not just about working out when it comes to putting it on your calendar either.
Well, that's the second piece of it is have a plan. So if you've joined a gym, if you've started like I want to work out at the beginning of 2025, but it hasn't, come to fruition yet,
Yeah.
having a plan is the second most important thing is to having the date on the calendar. Because when you walk into that gym, you've got to know what to do. If you start to just go by what you want to do, you won't do all the right things and you'll waste so much time trying to figure it out and frustration.
Yeah.
So if you have a plan, you have a list of A through E, and you like look around, okay, let me go to this machine or let me go get these weights. Let me do this. A, B, C, D, E. I'm done. Let's go. Go home.
Know what to
You
do.
yeah, done with the rest of your day.
And then you also need to put it on your calendar as far as like what you're going to eat throughout the week. Nutrition is a huge
You
part.
don't have to put it on your calendar.
Well, what I mean is like you're not gonna like stumble into or intuitively eat your way to your fitness goals
Mhm.
if you don't already have a ton of healthy habits built
I
in.
would say for that one, it would be more like have a plan.
Have a plan.
Like, make sure
Yeah, we
that
don't have
like
on our
we
calendar
don't
like
have it on our
chicken
calendar.
days.
No, we don't. But we have a plan of like when we go before we go to the grocery store, we think through the next 3 to 4 meals. Okay, we're gonna make this, this, and this. We get the whole ingredients and we make sure that we prep them ahead of time. Like we always talk about, we're always putting chicken in the crock pot, letting it cook.
Hmm.
We've always got a bigger pot of rice or a bigger pot of those like little potatoes. We've always got veggies chopped, and we're kind of like when we walk in the house and we're tired and it's time to eat and we're hungry, we have ingredients there ready for us.
Right.
So I think just having a plan whenever it comes to like, when you need to shop, what you need to get, what you want to cook, having some whole ingredients there sets you up for success.
And knowing literally when you're going to be able to do those things too. Look at your schedule throughout the week. Like where is a hole where you can spend 30 minutes, preparing some
Hmm.
protein to cook so you have it ready. If you don't make that time deliberately, your time's just going to be eaten up by everything else and you'll be left doing
Yeah.
dash or just eating what's convenient.
Or
And
just thinking ahead, like, okay, I need chicken for tonight. It takes 3 hours in the crock pot. Like, I got to put it on by like 2 today to have it ready to go.
and these are probably things that you already know, but I just want to tie it back and remind you that fitness hasn't stuck for you in years past. Have you really done this? Have you really
Yeah.
decided like these are the times that I'm going to spend dedicating to my own workouts and to my own nutrition? Or have you just been motivated in the beginning, stuck to a rigid set of rules, and then fell off?
Because when you really think about the things that like, saving money, to buy something, all that stuff, like all this stuff takes a plan, even, I mean, everything you do in relation to your
Yeah,
day,
your job.
going to school, getting getting a degree, getting a job, all these things like kind of take a plan and some forethought. And so if fitness is important to you, then that's something that you have to have a plan for as
Yeah.
well.
Imagine if you, one more example, just because I have a construction background. Imagine you hired a bunch of builders that to potentially build you a house, and one of them came at you with a calendar of like, all right, in
Yeah.
weeks 1 through 3, we're going to lay the foundation. In weeks 4 through 6, we're going to do the framing all the way through completion. And you walked away from that meeting. And then the next guy comes in and you're like, here's what I want to do. What's the process going to be? He's like, we're going to build you a great house. And, by the end, you're going to love it. You're going to have floors and walls and all these amazing fixtures. It's going to be
Have a
great.
plan.
If they have no plan, you'd be like, all right, no, I'm going to go with the guy
Yeah.
who got the plan.
All right. The second way to make fitness stick this year, make ingredients, not recipes. Don't
Uh,
come at us
but
with the hate on this one. And this is just, we make recipes sometimes, but this is like, as a whole, we always say like get ingredients to make meals that you can then make some recipes. Like if we bulk prep chicken, if we bulk prep rice, potatoes, veggies, we can make meals out of that. Like we can make tacos, we can make, a Chipotle bowl, we can make a burrito, we can
yeah,
make, we can make endless amounts of things. We can make a soup from these ingredients. Not making recipes most of the time saves you calories because it's really hard to count your calories in a recipe. Saves you time because recipes are way more time consuming to make than just like having ingredients that you can put together as a meal, and saves you money because I mean we anytime that we get ingredients to make a big recipe, you have to buy like if it's like sour cream, you got to buy the whole thing and you need like a tablespoon of it. Like you can't buy a tablespoon of sour cream, but so you're left with the
yeah.
whole thing, and not, just things like that. Like,
This is why we have like a full size thing of cardamom that like we'll never get through before it expires because the recipe called for it.
so some examples of things to like, like we just said in number one, pre-cook are like making your proteins, making your carbs, making your fats, and then having like various sauces on hand. Like Jonathan loves hot. What's that stuff called?
Frank's.
Frank's hot, all the different hots, like all the
Hot, super hot, sort of hot.
well, they have like Frank Buffalo,
Yeah.
Buffalo Hot, Buffalo Super Hot. I don't know. They're out of control. But all the red sauces he
Yeah.
likes to flavor his foods with.
I would say like if you want to know more about that, we wrote a free grocery and meal prep guide that can say more about this topic than we'll go into detail in this episode. So I'll put a link to where you can download that below. It's going to teach you how to build a grocery list in this manner and then how to turn those ingredients into different meals with different flavor
Yeah.
profiles without ruining your life. But I would just like back to the topic of this podcast. If you've failed to like make permanent change to your nutrition. Maybe at the beginning of the year you Googled healthy recipes, you came up with like 6 to 10 healthy recipes, and that you thought that was going to unlock
Mhm.
the progress for you, and you burn out on those things. You got sick of them. They were too complicated to make. So let's just put that aside this year. Try this method. If you're skeptical, get back to us and see how it works for you. I think you're going to like it.
Yep. All right. The third way to make fitness stick this year is to track stuff. I mean, when you want to save money, like if you want to buy a car and you want to save money and you start to track your finances, you're like, okay, here, I'm going to put $500 in, I'm going to put $1,000 in. You're saving money to track, you're tracking it.
Yeah.
So the things I'm talking about tracking are, we're a big proponent of tracking your steps. I think tracking your steps every day is huge to just see how active you are. Tracking your weight. And this is just to see if there's any major fluctuations. Not tracking your weight once a month, but tracking your weight almost daily if
Mm.
you can, because it leaves you like from being surprised that something happened, and just also shows you like what's actually going on. Tracking your protein. I think this is super important. Like I don't, I, you know, we've both spent many lots of time tracking all of our calories. And the only thing I track today still is my protein.
Mhm.
And by that, I just mean like every time I make a plate or bowl of protein, I put the plate or bowl on the scale and put the protein in and
Yeah.
make sure I'm getting enough at every meal. Because to me, that's one of the harder things to like eyeball. I
Yeah.
just want to make sure that I'm getting enough at every meal. And tracking your workouts. We say this endless amounts of time in this podcast, but tracking your workouts is the way that when we get clients that have worked out for years and they haven't seen progress and they start to track their workouts through us and through our app, or we're helping them track their workouts, they instantly see results. And it's because they're now tracking the weight that they use, the reps that they got, the times that they got on stuff, their mile run times or anything like that. They're and in the way that, and they're able to like see improvement.
Yeah.
That helps you improve, helps you get stronger, but also helps you stay motivated. And I have two ones that I say don't track. And
Well,
this is
controversial.
gonna be hate too. Hate's gonna be coming out on this one, but unless you have reasons for this, I would say don't track your sleep. I think, and this is general, this is just my opinion. This is like
You're
maybe
talking about,
maybe some people love to track their sleep on their watches.
yeah.
I think like having a time that you need to go to bed,
Mhm.
okay, I want to get up, I need to get up at this time, so I should probably start to wind down at this time. That's great. But like looking at the Fitbit or watch or whatever in the morning and looking at your sleep metrics,
Mhm.
I think that it can have like a negative effect on your mindset.
The
Like if you
nocebo
look
effect.
at your watch and you say like, "Oh my gosh, I thought I slept great, but I only had this much REM and I only had
Yeah.
I think it can set you up for like feeling more sluggish than you actually might even be.
Or just skipping your workout or,
Yeah, like I was tired. I didn't sleep good last night, because
I
the
mean,
watch said so, not
real life
because I
example.
thought
I
I
slept
did.
terrible last night. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the
But you
morning.
actually slept terribly. You didn't have a watch to tell you that.
Right. I actually, anecdotally, I know, or objectively, I know that I just slept terrible last night. I woke up and went into that thing where like you start thinking about something,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
start worrying about something, you do your best to let it go and distract yourself. But anyway, I think I was up for like 2 hours. But because I don't track my sleep or obsess about the
uh-huh,
number of minutes, I'm just going to go about the rest of my day as if it didn't happen. I'm not going to have any expectations for my workout to stink or be extra grumpy or hungry or
mhm,
anything like that, because I know one night of sleep isn't a big deal to
yeah,
me. I prioritize my sleep, and the only thing I track is like what time did I go to bed and what time did I get up to know
yeah,
if I got enough sleep. That's good enough for me. But I agree with you that we can obsess about a lot of these things that we track. Like, what are we tracking it for if we're not going to like make changes to the actual
yeah,
lifestyle things that are contributing to us getting those bad sleep scores in the first place? That's the stuff that really
yeah.
matters, not the sleep score that your device gives
I
you.
actually used a hack last night to make myself go back to sleep. And one of these things that I thought was like one of these hooky hacks that I never would have done in the past. Because I will, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I will like my brain starts to work, and then I'm like, okay, stop thinking about that stuff. And I'm just trying to relax. And you get obsessive, I think, in your head. I used the trick last night where you do like let your toes relax,
Yeah,
let your ankles relax, and you just like go up.
guided meditation.
It like totally like because it's all you're thinking about. Okay, let my ankles relax, let my knees relax,
Yeah.
and you just focus on that, and you start to like think. You don't. It really does like it helped me like just be more relaxed, get back to sleep faster.
That's great.
All right.
Can I say one just overarching thing about this tracking your metrics thing? What this does and why it makes fitness stick for you is because you become a person who is like more concerned about the process
Hmm.
than somebody who's just focused on the outcome. Because if you're only focused on like, when am I going to lose that 10 pounds? When am I lose that 15 pounds? That might seem like it's happening way off in the distance. And today cookies taste good. So you're not really worried about that off in the distance goal. It's much easier to make decisions now because you don't feel like you feel like the outcome is so far away. But doing the tracking these things keeps you accountable in the meantime, but just makes you somebody who cares about these things that actually tie to your health in the moment, in the
Hmm.
week, in the month, and it leads to the outcome goal that you want off in the distance.
We have one more tip for the don't track category.
Okay.
Don't track calorie burn.
Yeah.
Don't track. I mean,
You can't
you
anyway.
can't. It's on your watch anyway. But don't obsess about the calorie burn of like, was this a good workout or was this not? Because
Right.
it can't, it won't track like a heavy deadlift. Like
Yeah.
let's say, that's my example right there.
Right.
Okay. All right. The fourth way to make fitness stick this year is to choose active versus passive.
What do you mean by that, ma'am?
And this is across the board of like, okay, what are we doing this weekend?
Hmm.
Choose active versus passive. Passive is like a movie marathon. Active is let's get a group together and play
Pickleball.
pickleball. I don't like I was like, what's the coffee thing right now? Pickleball.
Right.
That's an active. Uh
That's a great
yeah,
example.
like a vacation, you know. A passive is you know,
The bourbon tour in
Let-
Kentucky.
an active is something where you're going on hikes and things like that. You know,
Yeah.
just just the more that you can, like choosing active activities versus passive activities, and the more that you can choosing active versus passive in treatments as well.
Mm.
If there's something that's going on, like you know, you hurt your shoulder, like do you choose the passive, like let's just do full body rest for the
Right.
next like 4 weeks and
Right.
see if it heals, or do we choose the active?
Physical
Like,
therapy.
let's do physical therapy. Let's work out the other arm. Let's work out the rest of the body, and we want to not only feel better physically but mentally as well.
Hmm.
You know, the same thing is true for like even any health related stuff. Like, okay, the doctor says you need to lower your cholesterol or whatever. Like,
Here's your
the
two choices.
passive is the medicine, the active is let's get to working out and let's get to watching what we eat.
Hmm.
So,
There's always a choice. Like, and that's not to say there aren't a time and a place
yeah.
for medication, but a lot of clients who have hired us are at that crossroads where their doctor says, all right, here's where your cholesterol's at. You have two choices. You can either intervene with diet and lifestyle changes, or you can go on a statin. Like, you
Mhm.
decide what you want to do. And we think that like if you want to make fitness stick this year, try
Mhm.
to become the person who chooses the hard road, which is the more active solution to your problems.
Which ended up to be the easier road because it ends up in these like a lot of cases it ends up to like help stave off what was starting to happen. It makes you fit better physically, it makes you better mentally. Whereas like the medicine thing where it's the passive treatment can just lead to more of those passive treatments, like
Yeah,
more sedentary lifestyle, feeling probably, I mean, I think a lot of medications that like you know are avoidable don't have the best side effects. Like
yeah,
makes you feel like, oh, why am I so sleepy? Why do I not like have a stomach ache? All those kind of things that
right.
come along with that kind of stuff.
Amen.
All right. This was my personal one. Number five, the fifth way to make fitness stick this year is to get you some slamming gym outfits. I'm serious. I'm really serious about this one.
Yeah,
Like, you know, get two or three like really cool gym outfits that make you like feel like a baller when you walk into the gym, even if you're working out at home. Even if you're working out at home. Because like, I don't know, just like it's the
you're
mindset.
dressed in the part.
Dressing the part, dressing like you're athletic, you know, it changes your mindset a little bit. Like catch your glimpse in your mirror, like, ooh, look at this.
Are
Like
you saying nobody ever PR'd in their sweatpants?
I like sweatpants as a gym outfit. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think it's important.
And I think that's a good segue into the bonus tip number six. Doing that like is just one piece of your overall fitness identity. Or like you're the kind of person who physically takes care of themselves on the outside because you see yourself as a fit, healthy, active person worthy of all those things. Like, or are you just doing this as a temporary fix where you like you're focused on this goal, but you never really change your internal identity as like, am I the person who believes I'm worthy of this new health goal that I have, this new outcome that I want to be this fit and healthy person, or just like a temporary thing that I'm doing? If you're on a diet, you don't have the identity of a healthy person. If you prioritize eating fruits, vegetables, and lean meats, those are behaviors and the identity of a healthy person. So start to talk to yourself in a way that says, this is who I am. I believe I can change. I'm worthy. I'm capable of doing this stuff, and not just look at it as a temporary thing that you're going to do to reach an outcome like a goal weight or
Mhm.
a body fat percentage or whatever. Decide if you're going to become the person who permanently does the things that the version you're visualizing of yourself
Mhm.
does, because that's what it's going to take, not only to reach the goal, but to maintain it and make it stick for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
This is not a temporary change. Change your identity and change your results for the long term.
So your sixth fit tip was how you identify yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the flip side of that is stop identifying as the person, or stop using that self talk where you're like, I always fall off track on the
Mhm.
weekends. I always quit a workout program after the first 3 months. I'm addicted to sugar. I always struggle with motivation in the morning.
Mhm.
If those are the things that you're saying to yourself in the morning, or like in your life, like those are deep rooted things that you identify with.
Mhm.
And then so when you temporarily start something at the beginning of the year, and you're sticking to a set of rules that don't align with the identity that lines up with those things that you're
Yeah.
saying subconsciously, eventually you're going to have this like internal conflict that you don't even realize is happening. And you'll self sabotage the healthy things that you're trying to do to realign with the unhealthy identity that's more deep rooted that you really think is who you are. So start talking to yourself in a more positive way, instead of like, I'm somebody who always falls off track. You're like, I'm somebody who has had trouble with consistency in the past, but I'm doing better
But
now.
yeah.
I can become better. Like
Mhm.
it sounds kind of woo woo, but it really does matter in the long run.
Yep.
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We're recording this at the end of January of
It's
2025.
February.
Oh, yeah, man. It's been a long week, long month. But anyway, I think a lot of people try to kick off their New
Yeah.
Year's with these kinds of goals. And let's just say, like, things aren't working out. Do these things in the episode, but if you want a guide, a coach to
Mhm.
help you formulate a plan around this and hold you accountable to it, that's what we do. Check out the options to work with us in the description or the notes of this episode. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great day.